Hey, today we're going to talk about perspective and direction. 1 Peter 1:13 says, preparing your minds for action, being sober-minded, and set your hope fully. So preparing our minds for action. It's all about perspective. What I see is up to me. I know that's one of those little, but it makes it easy to remember. What I see is up to me. So say you and I are together and we're with a few friends and we're standing out in the country looking out at a pasture. And we may notice the green grass, the colorful flowers, the cool pond we can go jump in later, say it's hot outside. So those are the things, that's our perception. That is what we have seen. And the person standing at the end of the line, or maybe they're standing a little ahead of us, their perception of where we're standing may be the big, huge, stinky cow pile patty that's in front of them and the mosquitoes that they see flying around the pond. So we're all standing basically in the same area, looking at the very same panoramic view, and we see totally different things. And what we see affects what we believe about the place. They're going to think it's hot and stinky and full of cow poo and mosquitoes. And you and I may be standing there and we think it's beautiful and the colorful flowers and we can go take a swim. So our perception of the very same place is totally different. So what we perceive, what we see is up to me, and it determines the direction that we head in. What I think, what I see, what I believe has everything to do with the action I take. So however I've prepared my mind, I will follow that direction and take those types of actions. That will be the path that I take, the direction that I go in, the action that I decide to follow. Where do I want to go? Do I want to read that one? Oh, I'll do this. So I have like things scattered all over the place, like usual, right? So how I see things, how I perceive them, that's where my mind's going to go. And what I say is what my mind is going to think and believe. I hear so much lately. People will say, "In my mind." I've been in my mind lately. Oh, I had a bad day. I was in my head all day. I was in my mind, and you have to flip the script on that. So if I am in my mind and I am thinking negative thoughts, then I need to say something else to myself. I need to speak differently and tell my mind something differently. I've got to fight that battle in my brain. And I can say whatever I want. I can tell my brain, no. I can tell in my head, no, that's not the truth. No, that's not what we're going to think. This is what we're going to think. And these are the awesome possibilities that might happen. So we need to follow this direction. So in my head, in my mind, I have to tell it to think differently and to do differently and fight that battle and win that battle over my mind. I've got to change my perspective. I've got to change my view, get a new point of view. I wanted to read Colossians 3:10 talks about a new self, and we create our skin. We create a new layer of skin every 24 hours. So literally, we create a new self every 24 hours. I think that's super cool. That's why I have to say that. But in Colossians, what did I say that was? 3:10. Put on a new self. Put on a new self, which is being renewed, recreated, reinvented, renewed after the image of its creator. Put on a new self, which is renewed after the image of its creator. Okay, the image of my creator. That's one thing I have to remind myself of all the time. I'm so critical of myself. And I have to remember whose I am. Who created me? The creator of the universe made me just this way. And of course, I have the choice and the power to do my own will with what I've been given. So I am going to renew myself. I can be a new self when I turn this off and walk away from here. I can renew my mind. I can create in my mind what I need to believe, what I need to perceive in order to follow a positive direction in my life, to take good positive actions. So where did I go here? All my little things. So change our perspective. If we're having that, in your mind, in your head, been in my head all day long, fight it, tell it something different. Change your perspective, change your point of view, and create a new self, like our skin does every day. This year especially, like all of 2020, and we just kept, especially toward the end of the year, and we just kept saying, oh my gosh, life is not fair, it's so depressing, it's been too hard, it's been too tough, and that's the script that we see so often with this very strange, challenging year that we've had. And I hear people say so many times, and I'm sure I have too, God, it's not fair. It's just not fair. And then I think about Jesus' life, and I was writing some things down because I'm like, okay, so this last year's been, I don't know, it's been wild, and it's been a wild and wacky ride, that's for sure. But Jesus' life, my goodness, it was not fair. It was hard. It was difficult. He had to, first of all, he had to leave paradise to come and he was born in a stall. So there's that just to begin with. That's the story of Jesus' birth in Matthew and also in the book of Luke. He was slandered. He was tempted. He spent 40 days and 40 nights. We can read about in Matthew chapter 4, 40 days and 40 nights in the desert, and Satan tempted him so much. So he was hungry. He hadn't eaten. He's in this hot desert during the day and probably freezing cold at night. And he was tempted just like we have been, like we are. He showed anger. In the book of Luke, chapter 22, when we read about his crucifixion, he went to a garden. He went to a quiet place with his very best companions, his closest friends, and he went to pray, and he cried out to his Father God, if you can take this cup from me, if there is any way that we could do this differently. It was difficult, but he said, but if this is the direction, if this is the path, if this is the action that must happen, then your will be done. But he had, even that was in his humanness, that was very difficult. And he asked his Father, is there any way we can change this? Can you take this from me? And during that time, of course, his best friends, this is serious. He's going to get killed. He knows he's going to die, and he knows he's going to die a very long, horrible death. And his very best friends are sleeping. They just curled up and fell asleep while he'd asked them to pray for him. So his best friends let him down, betrayed him, left him alone. So Jesus didn't have an easy life while he was here on earth as a human. Life's not fair. Life's not fair. And it depends on our perspective. We can look at all the cow turds, the cow piles, and follow that direction and look straight down and plug our nose and be negative, or we can look up and see the grass and the flowers that are there, and that can be our perception of what's happening in our lives. Jesus always, throughout all of, we talked about the temptation, and we talked about, crying out, can you take this cup from me? And even, when he became angry, and he always spoke to his Father. He always spoke with God. He always read and spoke and listened to the Word. And he had faith. He had faith in God's plan for his life. I feel like I've left something out. He had faith for God's plan, for his life, for his purpose, for humanity. And at the end of the day, it's so important for us to, I realize I'm looking down, you can see my dark roots there. We have to put the right things in our mind. We have to put the right things in front of our eyes, right and good things into our ears. And we also need to correct ourselves when we start getting negative and saying not nice things to and about ourselves, and when we get in our head, in our mind, in our brain, and have faith that we are new again every day in the image of our Creator. That's just so cool. Think about that. We're so cool. Have faith in God's plan and make your perspective in such a way that your actions reflect a good and positive perspective. Last thing I want to say is Hebrews 12. It was verses 2 and 3, and I'm just going to do the very end of it. Says, just consider him, Jesus. Just consider him who endured such bitter hostility, so that you won't grow weary and lose heart. So sometimes when we're looking at these difficult circumstances, isolation and depression and fear, disease, when we're faced with these things and we're looking at these things, even if you're sitting down right now and deciding what your next year is going to be like, what path am I going to take? What direction am I going to go in? What actions do I want to see in my life this year? How will you change, or how will you improve your perspective in order to improve and change your mind? Because where is that at? Oh my gosh, I didn't even talk about hearing. See, I knew I forgot something. When I was speaking and looking and listening, but when we do, I know I had a conversation the other day, and what I was saying wasn't being heard or perceived in the way that I meant it. So even with our hearing, we have our own perception. So sometimes you could be telling me something and I'm going to perceive it in a totally different way. For girls, for instance. Oh my goodness, you're getting so big. Okay, so a teenager's getting taller and changing, and she's not like a little marshmallow faced, braces on her teeth, and she's, oh my gosh, you're changing and you're growing. Not, oh my gosh, you're getting so big, because you know what, I'm a girl, and you know what I hear you say, oh my gosh, you're getting so fat, because girls are silly, and those are the things we think, even though that's not at all what you meant. That was our perception. So perfect example for girls, I know, of how our perceptions can be so different. So sometimes I don't receive or hear what you're saying the way that you mean it. So we have to be careful about that. And this is what I really wanted to say, because once we quiet ourselves and take out the rest of the world and sit down and listen to God, get into His Word, have some quiet time, pray, and not just complaining, not just asking for things, not just saying life's not fair, but listening. And how do we listen? How do we listen to God? By reading His Word, by listening to speakers, and hearing and perceiving what they're really trying to tell us. But those are things that we have to do. So when we sit down, we get really down to it. Okay, I want to change my perception, because I know that I want to take positive actions, and I know that I want to move in a bold and empowering direction. That's how I want to move. So I want to perceive things in the way you want me to, God, and I want to move in a direction that fulfills your purpose for my life. So once we do that, and we sit down with the Holy Spirit, and we sit down with God, and allow Him to help us see, say, and hear things through Him, then we have His sight, His way, and His words. So what we see, what we say, what we hear, all convinces our mind, prepares our mind, and steers us in a particular direction. So how will you change or improve your perception this year? How will you prepare your mind for action? That's my question. And I hope everyone had a wonderful, super blessed new year. I hope that everyone is planning great and wonderful and encouraging and positive things for their lives in the upcoming year. And I hope that we all can improve our perception and not stay focused on the stinky cow patties, and maybe scoop them up, toss them out, use them for fertilizer. So you take the bad, the negative, shovel it up, use it for something good, and help something beautiful grow there. And so we can improve our perception, and then we can head in a very positive direction this year. It was great seeing everybody. I hope you all are having an awesome day. And I watched this girl, this makeup and murder mystery girl named Bailey Sarian. I love her. And she always says, make good choices. I love that. But yes, so I hope that each of us chooses to have a positive perspective and to fill our minds with good sights, good sounds, good words, and that we head in a very bold and powerful and wonderful direction this year. See you soon. Mwah.